Hey everyone, welcome to GTraderPro Weekly Futures Forecast. I'm Gil. I'm here every Sunday to help you get a head start on the trading week. We're going to look at the key markets, upcoming events, and the setups I'm watching for this week. So let's get right into it. Let's start off with the E-mini. You're going to see that I've got a few price levels selected. We had a very good close for the week on Friday. So it was a good conclusion to the week. We've ended up once again above some key levels, 56.45. That's something that we've been watching here, and we did close out the week above it here on Friday. That opens up the door as high as 58.08, 58.14 this week, this coming week. So it's potential that we get a nice continuation. This happens to be a very important week for many of the indices with a weekly top coming in. So we're pushing up. It's very likely that we'll push up a bit higher this week. One of my major key levels this week in the S&P is going to be 58.08, 58.14. That said, we must continue to stay minimally above 55.85. We treated that level pretty well last week, and I suspect that we'll stay above 55.85 this week, and that leaves the door open for 58.10. Once we get there, this is likely going to be a very important resistance area for the S&P this week. So it's quite likely that if we can get up there in our live trading rooms, we're going to be doing some shorting on the S&P up there. Could also make for a nice swing trade on the short side. So that's our critical level this week. Again, first level we want to see maintained, which we did last week, 56.45. That's very instrumental. And then super critical becomes the 55.85 level. So as long as we're above these, we're looking for this week. Volatility has come in quite a bit, as we can see here in the S&P, comparatively to when we were in the strong decline off the Trump tariff talks. Things have begun to shrink up a little bit. This week's key report, of course, is CPI, April CPI, so all eyes will be on that come Tuesday, I believe, is the date of that report. And we have PPI later in the week. But for me, the major focus is going to be that CPI report. Let's shift gears now, and let's go take a look at the Nasdaq. The Nasdaq also in the process of a weekly top. It too closed out the week on Friday in a good position. We had talked about finding support down here this past week, which we did at some key levels here. So we did find support. Next major levels for the market this week, 20,550, let's call it 20,550, and a really strong push up would target 915. That said, the market on Thursday came up just shy of one of the levels we're watching on a daily basis, which is 350. Now, in order to see and expect to see 550, 540 and or higher, we need a daily close above 350. We barely missed touching it on Thursday. A little bit of unusual that they didn't touch it. The pullback was fairly minor off of that miss. We're going to look in certainly early in the week for additional test of 350. A daily close above this level right here, 350, would absolutely signal 550, 545. We would need, once again, another daily close above this level in order to signal that they're going to run all the way up to 911. Again, another critical week for the Nasdaq. This is their third and final week in the process of pushing up into a top. So we've got this week critical for more upside. Before then, we'll be looking to short the Nasdaq as well for potentially a multi-day and a multi-week decline. So again, we kick off this week bullish. We closed out last week in a bullish position. Expectation is for some of these upside levels to be reached. It is going to be a finishing move for the Nasdaq this week. Let's take a quick look here at the RTY, the Russell. Not quite as bullish as the S&P and the Nasdaq were to wrap up the week, but still closed out the week in very good position. So we're still coming into this week bullish on the Russell. Very similar to the Nasdaq, they need to close daily above 20,036, a level we've tested now from last Friday, again this last Thursday, and Friday's close under 20,035, 20,036. If we see a good strong close above that level, in particular on Monday, it'll signal 20,088, potentially 21,011, 21,015. Key supports this week, which we did find last week and successfully closed above 1986. That's critical. Very critical is 1944, 1945. If we were to get the Russell back below 1945 on a daily closing basis, it does open up quite a bit of downside. All right, and we'd be targeting much lower. That's not going to happen as long as we can stay above these two support levels, 1986 and 1945. Looking for a strong close daily early in the week above 2036 to signal us up about another 1, maybe 2%. So we're not talking huge advance, but a bit more upside coming into the week. And again, when we get up into these areas, we would be very critical. A really strong advance in this week in the Russell would target 2,200. I'm not expecting that, but it is on my radar for perhaps after this pullback, that perhaps in the month of June we might be talking about 2203, but that'll be for another discussion. So there's our Russell. Well, let's take a look at the last market here, the Dow, the YM. And again, ended the week well, not as strong as, once again, the ES and the Nasdaq. They closed below a key level, which is right here, 41,680. The YM needs to close above that level to open up upside. Good upside is up here at 42,000, call it 42,700. So again, once again, we're not talking about a huge advance, about 1,000 points. So that's not bad. In the way, basically 42,000 even. So before we get up to 42,007, we need a daily close above 42,000 even. They came up just shy of that level on Thursday, a lower high here on Friday. So the Dow's a little bit weaker than the other indices, but not bad. Once again, ended the week in decent shape. It must continue to hold 40,600. So, 700 points down and a little bit lower. Very critical support here for the idea that this week we would get up to a little bit higher levels. So the Dow is not quite yet into that weekly top formation the way that the ES and the Nasdaq and the Russell are. The Nasdaq is deeper into that weekly top formation with the S&P and the Russell close behind. The YM is yet to give us that weekly top signal. So there is potential here for more upside until that occurs. So once again, all four indices looking for some higher prices this week. But it is a critical week on the upside, and this should be finishing moves across all four indices. All right. Let's go take a look now at a couple of our commodities markets that we follow here. Let's start off with gold. Gold's been very strong, very bullish, but we had a very interesting close here last Tuesday, and then a decline right on back down. One of my key levels has been 33.90. We did close above that level on Tuesday. That looked bullish. We took that level back, and we've been closing below it. As long as we're closing daily below 33.90, gold is in a bit of a weak position. It can come all the way back down to test 32.44, and in a very steep decline this week, could get down to 31.28. This level would need to be broken and closed below and the minimum on a daily basis of 32.45. In the meantime, near-time support was found on, again, Thursday and Friday, 32,097. If that continues to hold, we push back up to 33.70 or thereabouts, potentially retesting 33.90. So these two levels up here for gold, very critical. We're very bullish if we can close daily back above these two resistance levels now. Breaking support here, much more important. This is really the critical line in the sand for gold. Holding 32.46 is critical. Once that gives way, if it does give way, another 100 points or so to the downside. Right now, gold is definitely at an inflection point, and it's make or break. So this is going to be a really critical week for gold. Looking forward to early action in the week. Let's go over to oil. Oil is pushing up. Crude is pushing up into a daily top. I expect to see higher prices early on this week, namely 61,084, 62,030, potentially 62,80. So 6185, 6227, 6283. This area of these three prices is what I expect crude to do this week, triggering that daily top, unlikely to close daily at any point in time above 62.80. So this will become really the most critical line for us. Potential looking at shorting crude if it can get up there into this area is going to be good enough. I really would be leaning on 62.80, and hopefully we get a look and a chance to short crude when it gets there. But again, this week, early on in the week, looking for a weekly top, a daily top in oil as well. So there's your commodities markets that we follow here. Thanks for watching. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss an update. Join our free Discord community for daily insights and trader talk. Link is in the description. Visit GTraderPro.com for one-to-one training, tools, and resources. And please follow us on social media to stay connected with the GTraderPro ecosystem. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.